Welcome to Get to Know Glasgow, the podcast that tells you what you need to know about student life at the University of Glasgow, from those who know it best. I'm Alice, an international officer here at the uni, and in this series I'll be chatting to 2 undergraduate and 3 postgraduate students about their Glasgow journeys.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Yessi.
I'm Shounak.
And I'm Serena. In each episode, we'll be sharing our experiences
and giving you our top tips
on everything from student jobs and budgeting
to making new friends.
So you'll know what it's really like to be part of Team U of G.
Let's get started.
Hi everyone! Yeah, we're here today just to talk about some fantastic topics that I'm really looking forward to, about how to survive your first month in Glasgow. All things packing, weather and finding your way during that first month. So yeah, Shounak, I thought you might want to kick off with how you've experienced Glasgow.
Yeah, sure, why not? So basically, before I came in Glasgow, I was literally counting days. It was like I had a countdown timer in my mind. And I had a chat with lots of seniors, took their advice on how the studies are over here, and was really looking forward to it. And once I got over here, I was really excited about the opportunities which I was going to get. And also previously, before coming over here, I had watched like lots of YouTube videos which are posted on the University of Glasgow's YouTube page and even Instagram handles. So they were quite handy. And one thing was quite different for me personally was that I carried about 10 pairs of shoes, which is not quite common. People usually carry 2 or 3 pairs, but I'm a shoe fan. And specifically for Glasgow, I suggest carrying like different kind of boots, particularly if you are into sports and other activities, because the weather over here it just varies. You'll get to experience 4 different seasons in one particular day. But from that, it's good to have a checklist of items which you need to carry. Like the most important ones definitely will be the documents, your passport, and also like carry all the required spices and food items for the first week or second week. Possibly like cup noodles, like Maggie, which you get back in India. I'll definitely suggest that. You definitely have stores over here, but getting few initial things before exploring different stores in Glasgow definitely helps.
Absolutely. You can never have too many pairs of shoes, Shounak. I'm more of a coat person, but I definitely have far too many for what I need. But I think in Scotland, you're able to have loads of different bits of clothes when you're coming to Glasgow for the first time.
Absolutely.
I think like for me, in terms of like the first month and like packing and whatnot, I super recommend using vacuum seal bags. If you like, instead of shoes, it's more just clothing in general that I was trying to pack way too much of. So vacuum seal bags. I bought a coat before I came here, which you really don't need to do because then I was wearing a massive coat on the plane in Texas at the end of summer before I came here, which was crazy. There are plenty of places you can get coats here. You don't need to do that. Yeah, I think the first month was really, it was exciting and I was terrified, but like in terms of weather and clothes and packing stuff, it's chilly because like I assume most people will be getting here like around like September. I think like most students, September is kind of the month whenever you arrive. It's chilly, it's not freezing. And then as the seasons progress, don't do what I did and only pack, assuming you're going to be like in Antarctica weather, because the summer does get pretty warm. And if you're from like somewhere that usually has air conditioning and then you're here and there's no air conditioning and it might not be as hot as you're used to, like Texas summers are unbearable, but we have AC, but there's no AC here. So you can buy stuff here. There are obviously a gajillion stores to buy summer clothes, but with being frugal and budgeting and, you know, student finances, just bring like a couple pairs of shorts and some tank tops so that when the heat does kick in, because it started getting warm, I think like around like May or June is when it started getting warmer and sunnier outside. It's like unexpected. It'll shock you. And then you realize you only have winter clothes. So don't just pack like it's going to be freezing outside constantly. I don't know why I like assumed that like Scotland wouldn't have a normal summer. It very much does. Yeah, that's my main piece of advice.
Well, I couldn't agree more with Shounak that I think the most challenging parts for me here is the food. So the flavors in Glasgow are actually really, really good, but you know, like nothing beats the taste of home. That's why I always bring sambal from Indonesia, and also Masako, because it's like an instant reminder of my mom cookings back home. And then like another big thing for me here is about the weather. To prepare myself, actually I usually wear a high thermal innerwear. It's like a thick, comfortable, and really helps me to adjust to every season, because like here it's not that hot for me, like 22 degree, and 22 degree is like in Indonesia usually we have 25 to 35, so 22 is really good, but like under 20, under 15, I always wear the high tech thermal innerwear. It's funny because in Indonesia, like we only really think about rainy or dry, so dealing with four different seasons was quite new to me, like winter. Actually, winter is very gorgeous. I can see the snow outside my window, but also a bit scary. I remember here I had to buy new shoes and layer up like never before. And I also taking extra vitamin D because the sun hides most of the time. And I also experienced a winter blue during an exam. So I was like, oh my God, what should I do? But then the summer came and oh, it was perfect. And the only problem is I can't really sleep because the sun set at 11 p.m. It's like, oh my God. But University of Glasgow, they have a super caring and respectful lecture. That's why I get a lot of helps from them.
I think you've touched on that so well, Yessi, in terms of getting used to those long and short days that we have in Glasgow. It is quite a change because we are far north. Having those like really kind of dark days during winter, there's not too much sunlight, but then you're coming through into the summer, and at the moment, as you mentioned, it doesn't get dark until very late at night, and then the sun starts rising. I think, Jessica, you've maybe said in the past that the sun starts rising before you've maybe even gone to bed. So getting that adjustment is just it is a crazy one when you're starting somewhere new.
Yeah, it felt like normal whenever like September, like in the fall, nothing was really that extreme. Like the weather wasn't super extreme, the sunset, sunrise, it was pretty normal. It was really nice coming from like boiling hot like Texas summer to then here, and it's like I can actually wear long sleeves. That's crazy. But then like winter kicks in, and it's really funny because again, for the 500th time saying I'm from Texas, I could not shut up about how much I was looking forward to having like real winter. And then everyone who's from here is like, just wait, give it a couple months. You won't be saying that anymore. And I was like, nah, it can't be that bad. At least I won't be sweating. It's a lot. I did have to buy like gloves and scarves for the first time in my life, but I still prefer it to the heat. And then like it starts getting dark at like 3:30, like 4 p.m., which is crazy. So I think there is like definitely in the winter, like take extra care, like mental health wise, if you're the type who already gets like seasonal depression type of stuff. The way it starts getting dark so soon is just definitely something to be aware of, with like making sure you're getting the most out of your day before it's suddenly dark and you're like, ugh, and then your brain is screaming at you. But then summer, like I said, complete reverse. Like it'll be 3 a.m. and the birds are chirping and the sun's coming up, and then it's not getting dark until like almost 11 o'clock at night. So very different ends of the extreme. But I really like the summer and the daylight, even though I don't appreciate, heat again, being back in the heat. I really like that you get so much sun. Like it's nice that the days feel so long and you can do so much, especially if you end up with like a part-time job or something. Like right now I'm usually getting out of work like at like 9 o'clock, and I'll like leave and the sun is like still out. It's just barely setting. And it's really nice that you don't like feel like your whole day is gone if you have other things going on.
Absolutely, I totally agree with Jessica over here. Like, I experienced the same thing back in the month of October. So, a transition happened. Usually, it's during the last week of October where the time shifts 1 hour back, and you have to adjust to a new time schedule where it usually gets dark by 3:30, as you mentioned. Apart from that, I'll suggest students to engage in a lot of activities, be part of a variety of clubs and societies in the University of Glasgow. There are about 300 clubs and societies. And also, if you're interested in sports, you can join sports clubs too. I personally was involved with the cricket club of the University of Glasgow, where we had sessions post 5 or 6 p.m. in the evening. So just to get out of that seasonal depression, it really helped me drift my mind away to things which are really worth, and I really enjoyed my time during the winters, even though it was dark by 4 or 5, by engaging in activities like playing cricket. And coming to the summer months, you'll experience a totally different Glasgow. And I personally like this particular season as compared to the others because, as Jessica mentioned, you get to explore so many other things and you can do so many other activities while the daylight is. And what I'll suggest is during this particular time, go out, explore, because it's a period of 3 or 4 months where you get such a good amount of daylight and make the most out of it.
Yeah, I agree with Shunak like about join a club. Like I really enjoy like join at the University of Glasgow gym membership because like it's cheaper for a student, and I really enjoy all of the facility they have. A lot of classes which is free, which is need to pay like I think around £18 a month, and it's like we can access the swimming pool which is with warm water. Actually, this is the first time I experienced a swimming pool with warm water, and also like a yoga class, and then like they have the, I don't know, it's like bicycle but with technology, and the people there is like very very happy, like, and it makes me, oh, I can be happy again even with this winter blue, and I really enjoy it, that gym membership.
These activities also help to keep you warm if you're doing them in the winter, for sure, in those colder months. But then you can also go outside and do them in the longer summer daylight hours as well. So it's good to have something for all year round.
And then to offer a different perspective, since I am not an athletic person and I'm not doing sports or going to a gym, with the summer and with it being bright for so long, what is weird is that what was a culture shock thing for me when I moved here was how early like shops and stuff close here. I'm used to like, you know, whatever, like Walmart is open till like 10 p.m. You can go and like run to the store like well into the night. And most places close like pretty early here. So it'll be bright until like 10, almost 11 o'clock at night. But it's like, what can I do? Like everything's kind of shut. So I think like in terms of how to like cope with that, I think that's where like making friends is like really, really important. If you're not, you know, if you're not an athletic person and you're not doing those things. I was lucky enough that before I moved here, I got the invite like from the uni to join the Unibuddy app, which I believe like most incoming students, it'll show up in your inbox. And I joined the app, and then I got a message from another American girl that was like, hey, I'm setting up a group chat of a bunch of like incoming like American like post-grad students. Here's like the invite so you can join. Started out on Unibuddy, then transitioned to a giant Instagram group chat, then transitioned to a WhatsApp group, and it kind of like got like a smaller and smaller. Like some of us were like talking more than others, and it kind of became like an actual like core friend group. Like it got narrowed down to like a manageable amount of people. It was a big group at first. And like one of the girls in that group chat, the one who actually invited me to the group chat to begin with, ended up like living in the same hall as me at my student accommodation. So her room is like right there. Met like a ton of friends that way. One of the girls who was in that group chat with me, I'm actually moving into a flat with her really soon because we both have decided to stay. So like I think just using the resources that the university gives you, or like just, you know, the internet, social media in general, finding other students that are like in the same boat as you, that are also, you know, coming here for the first time, whether they're from the same country as you or, you know, whatever. And I think that's really good to like have that established. So when, you know, winter, dealing with that, dealing with summer, so you have like people to do things with, and that just makes like the whole experience so much easier.
Yeah, I think having people like from when you arrive as well, Jessica, because obviously there are all of the clubs and societies, there's lots of sports teams, there's clubs and societies which can be around your interests as well, like horror film appreciation society and beekeeping, these types of societies. But having people from before you come, then you kind of have this kind of feeling of comfort when you're traveling so far from home, I can imagine as well.
I don't know what I would have done like without that group chat and without having that, because like I was stressed like I've never been in my life, and having like people in the same situation to be like what did you do about this, like what are you bringing, like what day are you going to IKEA, like all the different, and then the technical stuff, like all the, you know, there's a lot that goes into being an international student. And obviously the internet and the university, there's tons of resources, but it still helps to talk to a real person who's in the the same situation as you, and just kind of like get that reassurance that you're doing what you need to do before you get on the plane or once you're here. And then like having someone you can go to the store with and like get what you need, like just having friends already established here, it's such an insane help.
Well, I agree with Jessica. Like, I have like a additional information because like I am from Indonesia, and it's like in Indonesia we have here the PPI, which is like Indonesian community in Glasgow. So we have the Instagram. The Instagram is also connect with the University of Glasgow Instagram, and we have a group chat on WhatsApp, and we also thrift or sell our like a winter jacket. So like for people who graduated this year, will give freely to the student, incoming student, or they will like sell it for a really really cheap price. And we also like sell like Indonesian food with very cheap price, and we can cook together. We have a lot of activities to do together, like celebrating Independence Day, which I just done yesterday, and also like we celebrating many things about Indonesian thing here in Glasgow, and they are very supportive. So like for Indonesian, I think don't forget to join the WhatsApp group, which is the link on the Instagram.
Absolutely. I feel like culture shocks happen, all the time when you're coming, but it's nice having these communities when you're arriving for sure. It just makes things a little bit easier. Shounak, have you experienced any kind of other culture shocks when you've arrived in Glasgow? I'm sure there's quite a few when you're coming as an international student.
Yeah, definitely. The first thing which I noticed, which was different, was the accent, in particular, the Scottish accent, which is hard to pick up initially during the first 1 or 2 months. But as the months go by, you gradually get used to it. And it has happened that even you try to speak in that particular fashion as time passes by. So that was one of the culture shocks I experienced over here. But apart from that, yeah, like the people over here are very, very helpful. As they mentioned, people make Glasgow, and I truly experienced that when I came over here. So the Indian community in Glasgow is pretty strong. They have the GU Society, they have the Desi Society of Glasgow, which host like several activities, and India is known for festivals throughout the year. So they recently the Holi festival during the month of March, and also again bringing in cricket over here. They hosted lots of matches, like where we go to clubs and watch the live streaming of matches, like for example India versus New Zealand. So if you're a cricket fan, you also get to experience that, and it's a really good community because you get to meet people from all parts of India, be it Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, and it's really a great experience in my opinion.
That's so fantastic. And I think it's nice, like, you've obviously been talking about cricket and how you've kind of brought something from home that you really enjoy and are able to experience and get to know in Glasgow, Shounak. And hopefully my accent, I should have checked that I'm speaking at an okay pace. Scottish people can speak really quickly, which can be difficult when you first arrive, I can imagine. Even coming from different parts of Scotland, sometimes when you're coming to Glasgow or another part of Scotland, it can be quite a different accent. So that's a really good one that you mentioned of it can be difficult, and your English is all very good, but sometimes accents can be so different. So it's always good to hear that you find yourself understanding more and more as your time passes in Glasgow, Shounak.
Yeah, the accents were a huge culture. I'm gonna really make myself sound like an ignorant American, but I did not know that there were like different Scottish accents depending on the region. I just thought there's a Scottish accent. I didn't know Glaswegian accent sounded like that. I was not prepared at all. And like, I love them. I think it's great. Am I fighting for my life trying to understand half the time? Yes. But like, even if I can't understand like half of what they're saying, I'm like, this is so cool. The way you're talking is so cool right now. I'm just going to smile and nod, which I think you have to get kind of comfortable doing that for a little bit, just kind of like smiling and nodding and getting your way through conversations, and you will pick it up eventually. And then it gets really weird because like, like I think we've all been here for like about a year now. And I don't know if it's just me absorbing things too much, but I'll catch myself like saying things differently now. Like I said tomato the other day. I'm like, it's tomato. Why did I say tomato? Like it just starts creeping in like ways you don't even notice. Or like because I have like a part-time job now and most of my coworkers are like Glasgow natives. And one of them will just like different phrases, like saying like pop to the loo. I don't say that. Why am I saying that now? And you don't even, it's really funny. Like it just creeps into your vocabulary and you don't even realize it. And then like my mom came to visit me and she was like, you're talking different. I'm like, no, I'm not. what are you talking about? She's like, yes, you are. Like, ugh. So it creeps in. Yeah.
But I could say that Glaswegian people, they are very, very helpful and caring, because like when I first came, for example, when I look a little bit lost in a shop, and then like people often come and ask me, are you okay? At first I was like, did something happen with me? But then I realized it's just their style, their way of checking in and making sure that I'm fine. And now, honestly, it makes me feel like very welcome here. So I just like them.
Oh no, that's so brilliant to hear. I always like to say that, Glaswegians and Scottish people are very friendly on the whole, so it's nice hearing that you've had that experience as well. Just kind of like wrapping up maybe our thoughts for today of like what you've been thinking, what are your kind of final thoughts for your kind of first arrival in Glasgow when you first arrived? Any kind of final thoughts that you have around kind of settling into Glasgow, and any kind of tips that you might have around that, guys?
One advice I have for students is, if you're finding or searching your building or a class, don't search it on Google Map. You won't find it. It's better to ask a staff member or a student at the University of Glasgow, and you'll find it in seconds or minutes. But with the Google Map, I've seen myself struggling for an hour
Yeah.
on one particular day. So I'll just new students to interact with other people on the campus, and you'll definitely find your way.
My advice is get a subway card, get a rail card, whichever one you qualify for. Sign up for like every like discount card for the different grocery stores. Any card that you qualify for that will help you out in whatever way, even if it's like it's financial, but it's also convenience. Like if you're like living in, city center, some student accommodations in the city, some's on the West End, it's, you will most likely be using the subway. You could also, I probably prefer the subway over buses. That's just a personal preference, but it's so much easier to just load your subway card and do that than getting like a return ticket every single day. So sign up for all of the cards and don't be insane and pack massive coats that you can just buy here, probably for way cheaper at Primark or something.
For me, I think it's like buy the waterproof things, like waterproof shoes, waterproof jacket, waterproof bags, and like waterproof anything. Like, don't buy an umbrella. I have broke 2 umbrellas, so no, just buy a raincoat. It's safer, or a jacket. It's like a stylish, and they have a really good style jacket here in Glasgow with a good price. So waterproof.
Those are all really fantastic, and you've covered like all of the bases in terms of what to wear, but also how to get around Glasgow. And yeah, once you've got your student card as well, Jessica, that gives you all of those discounts, like student discounts throughout the city, which I really miss. I miss it. So you've got to make the most of it whilst you can.
Yeah, don't go anywhere without your student ID. Urban Outfitters has a student ID, and that's very important.
That's where you're going to buy all of your jackets, or maybe your shoes.
We hope this episode has been useful. If you're interested in finding out more, you'll find the links you need in the show notes. And you can visit glasgow.ac.uk/get-to-know-Glasgow. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.